So Arsenal have lost. It was 2-0 today versus West Ham, and I think it was obviously a big blown opportunity to go up on the league. Now they are sitting 2 points behind Liverpool, who now sit atop of the league. And I think one of the most glaring stats was probably that Arsenal had, I believe it was 70 or 77 touches in the box. We'll pull up the graphic right now, but it was somewhere crazy like that. And 30 shots on goal. Now, the obvious is they don't have a striker. I think that Martinelli is overrated. I think he's a good player, but he's not going to get you goals like that. Saka is not a big goal getter. He's a great talent, but he's just not. And then you have Gabriel Jesus, who thinks that it's not his job to score, even though he is paid and plays as a striker. So it's things like that that kind of make you wonder where these goals are coming from. Not only does the team not feel as cohesive this year as it did last year. I think last year they were a little bit more dangerous. This year they're actually not looking as dangerous. I'm not exactly sure who exactly it is that they're missing, but they're just missing like a chemistry piece or something. Maybe it's the fact that Arteta brought in Kai Havertz as well, and he for long stretches of the season, maybe it was his own hubris, he was really trying to force him in there, and he's just not that guy. And I don't, Chelsea basically fleeced Arsenal, and they don't have a striker. They're trying, but they don't have it. And so there is that. But I think let's take a quick look at the graphic here, because it is insane, the stats that kind of came out of this. Only twice has a team attempted 30 shots and lost. Both of them Arsenal. Once in 2017, once today. And then only twice has a team had 70 plus touches in opposition box and lost. And that was one was Man City, and the other one was obviously Arsenal, which was today. Football Heritage. Now, again, it just really seems like Arsenal just don't. There's like a click missing. They're just not firing on all cylinders. And the good thing about it for them is that the team is still young. The team can still have time to figure it out. You add the places, but when you give up that spot like the lead like they did last year, I don't know if it's hangover from that. I don't know if it, maybe they just aren't the real deal yet, and they're just missing that key piece that kind of catapults them over the edge. Because I think Odegaard and Declan Rice are definitely going to be ones that you thought were going to push him over the edge. And I think Declan Rice, to be fair to him, has had good games, and he's had games where he scores the last gasp winner, but that's not who he is really. And you brought him in to kind of bring that defensive steel to that back line, and I think that they're missing just going forward. I really do. I think that they're missing that key. Odegaard is really just, he has good games, but he kind of doesn't really go as much as he could. But again, I mean, there was from what I recall, there was only two controversies. One was more of Saka, who actually had a dive in the box and he didn't get a card. I don't know if anybody's calling for a penalty. If they are, they're lying to themselves or to you, because that was not a penalty at all. He dangles his leg, but he's already on his way down. So there is absolutely no shot of that being called. I think that was rightly not called, but I think he should have gotten a yellow card for that. And then it was the West Ham goal, the first goal, which, let's see if we can see a quick one here. So it's this. And so, again, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, this was the correct call, but get over it. Stop whining. If it's an injustice to my team, if it's an injustice to another team, it's an injustice to the league, right? Like, the shortfall is to the league. So I think in that particular scenario, because you don't really see that the ball is out, I think you don't get. I think that they were correct not to overturn that one. Unlike the Newcastle one, where the ball looks out, and so that was my call. The call on the field in the Newcastle game was that it was in right on the field, and then when they looked at it, they said, well, it looks out, but it could look in. No. You got to call what you see. And what they saw in that one was it was out. So I think that was incorrect. And everybody rightly said that was garbage. But for this one in particular, they didn't see enough. And so that's the only difference between the two. They didn't see enough. His leg is in the way. And so you can't tell if the ball is in or out based on the angle that they have. Now, do you still want to say this is the most powerful, this is the strongest, this is the most popular league in the world? You should have way better camera angles than that. That's fair. That's totally fair, and that's something that I would back. Anybody on. I think that, first of all, again, in general, I think that VAR has been an absolute joke. And the PGMOL needs to disband, and they need to just start over because it is absolute garbage what they're doing. That's fair. That's one point on its own. Okay, but this today, what we saw, I don't think that was it. I think that it was implemented well and what it could be. Again, could it be better? Of course, it can always be better. Yeah, nothing's gonna be perfect, and you would want it to keep improving. Again, I think it's been really bad this year, but you always want it to keep improving. But whenever there's people involved, I think there's always going to be some manner of mistake. But no, I mean, for this particular game, I think VAR and I think those those calls had nothing to do with what went on. On top of which, Arteta came out and said they were better than us on both ends of on both boxes. They were better defensively and they were better offensively. So for as much as West Ham did or didn't do, they were much more effective than obviously you can see here. And again, it's been an ongoing thing, whether it's Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, Nketiah, Havertz, they just don't have it offensively. They just are not clicking. And I think that this is where you kind of show what you're going to be made of. And unfortunately, I don't know that they're there yet. I think that the first 3 spots are probably locked in, right? In no particular order, but it'll be Liverpool, City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I think those 3 will be there. And then we'll see who ends up vying for the 4th spot. Aston Villa looks wobbly. I think that they're fantastic. They're a fantastically run team, but I think maybe they're starting to kind of show their warts. And then obviously you have Tottenham, who got hammered today. Ended up making it look respectable, but they got hammered. And then you'll have, Chelsea's not even in it. But you'll have other teams in it. Man U, somehow. The worst Man U team, everybody's breaking down, but they're still within a touching distance. So, again, we'll see what comes of Arsenal. Arsenal games, yeah, they were just dancing around, but they could not get it done. I don't even want to see or care about the expected goal stuff. They had some chances and they didn't take them, and they were just so ineffective. And that's the story of the club going right now, is that they had chances, but nobody was taking them. And so let's see if they can get better. Let's see where they end up in the table at the end of the year. Can they hold on? They're still, again, being down 2 points right at New Year is not going to be the end of the world. But I think psychologically it might be a blow. So hopefully Arteta can address that as well and get them firing, because again, it looks like they'll never score. It really does. It's odd. It is very, very odd, but we'll see what happens going forward with Arsenal.